AJ Francis gives a TNA contract update. TNA wrestlers backstage at AEW World's End. El Hijo del Vikingo injured again. And Jordynne Grace's last days in TNA. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sudden Impact, your premier destination for news about TNA Wrestling. I'm John, and without further ado, let's get started. This is Sudden Impact. So AJ Francis has officially re-debuted. Taking to X, the current TNA wrestler announced that he'll have something to do in the new year. So Francis stated, "Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is AJ Francis, and I'm wearing a Bobby Boucher Bourbon Bowl jersey. And yes, that does make me better than you. I just touched down on a first-class flight in Houston, Texas, one of my favorite cities in the world, and I realized that there's been a lot of discourse over the last 72 hours about what I'm going to do. Am I going to stay in TNA and remain the first-class CEO, TNA J Francis? Am I going to go over to AEW and turn it into AJEW? Or am I going to go back to NXT and face Obafemi? Or am I going to go back to the main roster on SmackDown and get the run that I so definitely deserve?" He continued on saying, "Well, I'm here to tell you that the cat's out of the bag. See, the very next thing that I'm going to do is tonight at Reality of Wrestling, I'm going to punch that Ryan Davidson in his mouth. And I'm going to do it so hard, it's going to knock that mouthpiece right out of his mouth. See, it's a good thing that you wear a mouthpiece. And it's funny, because in this business, I am a mouthpiece. Sorry. So after I punch your mouthpiece out of your mouth, I'm going to find me a Houston mouthpiece. And then I'm going to fly in one of those and head back to Orlando, where he pointed up to a plane in the sky, host the Citrus Bowl for Cheez-It on the 31st, New Year's Eve, and on New Year's Day, it'll be a new year, and we'll be outside, and I'll definitely have something new to do." So while I would love to see AJ Francis re-sign and remain with TNA Wrestling, seeing him challenging for the World Championship and possibly winning it either in late 2025 or early 2026, I believe he has to do what's best for him, and the sky's the limit for him at the moment. Speaking of this, AJ Francis was seen backstage at AEW World's End on Saturday, so where he was joined by former WWE wrestler Baron Corbin, who was released in late 2024 and is currently under a non-compete contract clause that is running for at least another month. So Francis was seen talking to Tony Khan, former stablemate in Hit Row, Swerve Strickland, Prince Nana, and Jeff Jarrett. And this comes as Francis's contract is set to expire on January 1, opening him up to explore other options. As I said in the previous story, AJ Francis will let everyone know what he's doing regarding his 2025 and onwards as soon as January 1. All we have to do is wait a couple of days and we'll see what AJ Francis has in store for his fans and the wrestling world. Now, poor Vikingo isn't having too much luck with injuries recently. After recovering from an injury he suffered at an Impact taping in October, he suffered yet another injury in his UK wrestling debut, competing at Progress Wrestling's 7th annual unboxing event on Saturday in a match with Kid Lycos II. I'm not sure if I got that name correct, but please let me know. Vikingo got injured after taking a bad landing. So Progress released a statement shortly after the match on social media discussing the situation. So it said, the Vikingo versus Lycos 2 was stopped early due to an unfortunate injury to Vikingo. The company wrote via X. He will get checked over by our medical team, and we hope for a speedy recovery and a return to a Progress ring in the future. I mean, it is never a good thing when a wrestler gets injured like this, especially when they have recently returned from an injury. So hopefully Vikingo recovers fully and gets back to his best, and we see him both back in Progress, TNA, and AAA, just challenging and putting on spectacular matches as we have grown accustomed to expect from him. Yeah, it's never a good thing, but these are things that are just happen all the time in wrestling. And finally, Jordynne Grace is nearing the end of her TNA Wrestling contract and will leave towards the end of January. So her contract, unlike many other TNA wrestlers whose contract ends on December 31st, hers finishes in early 2025. So this means that Grace's last official TNA Wrestling appearance will be on the weekend of the Genesis pay-per-view, where she is scheduled or tipped to be facing Tessa Blanchard, who returned at Resolution and attacked her during Grace's match with Rosemary. Now, while this is a massive loss for TNA Wrestling in a time where they need all of the positive news that they can get, Jordynne Grace revealed in the night one of the TNA Best of 2024 Impact show that TNA will always be her home. And so I'm hoping that this means she will return in the future to challenge the new crop of knockouts that are in TNA at that point in time. So that's all for this episode. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. So leave your comments down below and ring the bell for notifications on new videos. Also, I'm on podcasts. So follow me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music, as well as YouTube Music. And until next time, I'm John, and this has been Sudden Impact.